before we get started, yeah, there's some major changes this year with scouting and rechartering, and of course the first thing is the fee increase. So we got fee increases across the board for all the scouts, and then I guess the other big change is there's no longer a proration charge to new members joining. They're not paying um, the months between the joining month and December, and then also paying at Recharter. They're actually new members pay um, for 12 months when they join, and that will impact your Recharter because you will not have to collect fees for them because when the new member joins, they're turning in their fee for the full 12 years. So no more prorating fees for the new members that join. Um, so those are kind of the main changes for Recharter this year. And what I'm going to do now is going to pull up a presentation and kind of walk through uh, this presentation for you. And at the end of that, we'll stop and have questions. So let me find my presentation. There you go. Everybody see that? Give me a thumbs
I
up,
can.
Charity. Can you see that? Good. All right. Great. Let me see if I can get it. Here we go. All right. So Internet Recharter Guide and Timeline. What we're going to cover on this presentation is, well, what is a charter? What are the keys to a successful recharter? And how to do a membership inventory, um, how to make sure you don't get uh, fouled up with youth protection training, uh, the timeline for Recharter, and then where can you go for Recharter resources. So what is a charter? So the charter, it's actually an agreement between the Boy Scouts of America, the national organization, that authorizes an organization to operate a scouting unit. About an organization that could, be a church, it could be uh, a nonprofit, it could be an American Legion post, but whoever charters that scouting unit, that's they have to have a charter agreement that allows them to operate the unit. Um, so why do we do this annually? We do it every year, and so it's a process that we have to go through every year. But reason we do it annually, it's basically a legal document, so it has to have can't be an open-ended, extended, just never-ending contract. It has to have a termination date. But having it, you know, renewed annually makes it kind of make sure that we're forcing a dialogue between the charter organization and the scouting organization. It also assures that our registrations are current so that we can make sure that the youth can participate in the scouting activities and achieve rank advancement. And then it also enables the collection of the annual membership fees and the recharter fee. So what are the keys to a successful recharter? Units can have a successful recharter, well, starting early. That's probably the most important thing. So the recharger system usually goes live in October, but we recommend that you get started well before that. August is great. And then identify a recharter champion. Assign the function of managing that process to an individual. It doesn't have to fall on one of the key three. Get started on inventorying your membership. We'll talk about how to run a membership inventory report, but you want to compare what the system says to what what you're seeing locally on your local units roster. Then for your adult leadership, you want to look at their youth protection aging and make sure that their youth protection is going to be valid through March of the recharter year. So for recharters this year, you want to make sure all of your adults have youth protection training that doesn't expire before the end of March of 2024. And then create a plan on how to collect fees. Start communicating that to your unit families that you're going to be collecting fees for the recharter process, and go ahead and get those fees published. It's also important to review the online training materials for anything that might be new with Recharter this year, and I'll share links with you later. But there's a great website that has frequently asked questions. It's got a Recharter, an internet Recharter user guide that you can download. And then there's a great video that demonstrates how internet Recharter works. And then later, we're going to review the Recharter timeline that kind of lists when you should be doing the specific tasks that will get you through to completing your Recharter. All right. Then finally, avoid the most common reasons a Recharter can't be processed. New adults need to have a criminal background check approval form, so make sure those are submitted and signed. Missing or expired youth protection training for your adult leaders. Missing signatures on applications or the background checks. Missing the key 3 approval. So when the charter is complete online, it's a notification goes to the key 3 for them to go online and approve it. It can't be submitted if it's not done. If you have new adults and you're missing their applications, you have them on the roster, that's going to derail your recharter. If you turn in the wrong amount of money, that will derail your recharter. And then if you have a youth member that's turned 18, you're going to need the youth protection training and criminal background check and a new application to register them as an adult. So check those birth dates on your youth. Okay, isn't that beautiful? Here's the Recharter timeline, and we're halfway through this thing now, so it's sort of almost a moot point going through this at this stage in the game. But it is important that you make sure that you accomplish this. I think kind of the main thing is we want you to get through the internet Recharter process and get it submitted to the council by November 15th. Now, the Recharter system will stay up through the end of December, but if you can get it, a lot of people love to have a deadline to work towards. I would say November 15th would be the deadline to work towards completing Recharter. But the prep part's important. You can even, if you're starting that now, the steps are listed there. It's great having a Recharter champion. It doesn't necessarily need to fall on the unit leader or the committee chair. I think it's a great introductory role for somebody that's a little bit tech savvy and likes to kind of work behind the scenes and is organized. Once you have your Recharter champion, if this is their first time through, make sure they review the Recharter resources, begin the membership inventory, and then identify the youth protection training, and identify anybody that's expiring before March 1st. Anybody that's expiring before March 1st, start hounding them to redo their youth protection training. So once you're ready to get on to Internet Recharter, basically updating your roster, adding members, removing members, double check the youth protection training dates that are on the rosters for your adults, finalize the membership inventory, and then collect your fees and submit the roster. Once that roster is submitted, it's not going to get through the council until one of your key three gets online and approves it. So then once it's all submitted and out of your hands, you might submit it November 1st. It's going to basically stay in kind of a holding pattern until our council registrar starts, reviewing and processing these charters. So they're going to validate everything that is correct, make sure that the money matches. Make sure that they have all the paperwork they need. And then if there's any issues with it, they'll communicate back to the key three, but they'll also log any problems in a spreadsheet that the commissioner team has access to and the scout professionals have access to. So we'll be able to kind of get back to you if there's a problem. And we're pretty good at being proactive and identifying units that might have an issue with their recharter. All right, so now we're going to talk about that membership inventory and what's the best way to do that. Basically, the membership inventory is a report that you can download from My.Scouting. So what you want to do is, it's kind of a process, is get that report and make sure you've got everybody in your unit on that list. And for some reason, someone may have dropped off. Make sure you don't have anybody that's dropped off. But also figure out, well, who's on this list that hasn't been coming in a while, and assign someone or a group of people to go through those people that haven't shown up and contact those families and invite them to get back active with the troop. But also encourage them that if they've decided not to continue in scouting, you'll want to know that so you can remove them from the roster. So how do you run the membership inventory report? Down at the bottom, you go to my.scouting.org. You log in using your own personal My.Scouting ID, the same ID that you use to go do your youth protection training. Click on menu. When you get menu, you'll be able to select the unit and then select roster. And then that'll bring up the roster. You can then select export roster, and then you have to specify what format. You can export as a CSV file or a PDF file, but what you want to do is export it as a CSV and then confirm that. And then the roster file will show in a dialog box that it's completed, that it's been downloaded. You can click on that and it'll open up. Now, it looks like an Excel spreadsheet, but it's not exactly an Excel file. So you'll want to save it as an Excel worksheet. And then you just use it just like an Excel worksheet. You can format it, you can sort it, you can print it, and share it with anybody that's going to be helping you verify your membership roster. Youth protection training is the other big, kind of paper chase that we need to work on. And it's another report that's available on My.Scouting. So again, log into your my.scouting.org, click on menu, click on the unit, and this time select YPT reports, just like you did before. Select export. You can export it to a PDF or a CSV. The CSV allows you to convert it to an Excel spreadsheet, which allows you to kind of manipulate it, sort it, do different things with it. But review that and identify any adults that are having expiring youth protection training before March 1st, and then start hounding them to get on the system and take youth protection training. So mention those resources, and here they are. There's a whole page or several pages out on the scouting website of resources. So that link up there, and I'll I'll put it in the comments here in a minute. It has all the up-to-date changes and enhancements. It's got the user guide that you can download. It's got a list of frequently asked questions. There's a forum that you can go and look at questions and answers that have been submitted to the help desk. And if it's your first time using Internet Recharter, there's a about a 15-minute video that walks you through how it works. You can also I think scan that QR code there. I think it will take you to those resources. And how do you access Internet Recharter? It's basically at advancement.scouting.org. The key 3 automatically has access to the Recharter system. But if you have a Recharter delegate or you've designated a Recharter champion, any one of the key 3 can assign responsibility of key 3 delegate to your Recharter champion, and that will give them access to Internet Recharter. All right, that's the end of the presentation, but I do want to show you one more slide. Oh, charity. Let's see. All right, so give me a minute. Not that one. Not that one. Bear with me. I'm almost there. All right. Sorry it took so long. All right. So I mentioned that one of the big changes now is there's no longer a proration on new members. So in the past, when they join, if they're joining in August, they're paying the fee prorated for August, September, October, November, December. But they've done away with that for this year. When they join, they pay a full 12-month registration fee, and no longer. So that what that means is pretty profound change, because what that means is going forward, everybody that's joining as of this year and going forward, their anniversary date, the date that they join, will be the date that they are re-registering. So if they join in October, their registration will expire in October of next year. And then, but they will be sent a notice by National that tells them that their membership is about to expire, and gives them the option of re-registering directly with the Scouts. So what that means is they no longer have to register through the troop. So for this year, when you see your members and your roster in the Internet Recharter system, you look, you can see your new members will show a fee of 0. They're highlighted in yellow. So this is a youth here. He's new member. Don't have to collect a fee for him. So for this year, the new members will have a 0 fee, and your current members will have the standard annual recharge fee. Then next year, all membership will renew directly with the BSA, and no longer have to go through this recharter process. It will be an option. So units still, if they want to collect the fees and submit them, they could still do that. But I think this is actually a pretty convenient way for units don't have to chase the money anymore. Does it? I think this is a better process from the standpoint of you're not having to you know, chase mom or dad to send a check or come in on a certain day with their credit card. Um, they can just go online and do it. It's kind of how the world is now when everybody pays for stuff online these days. So it will remove that part of the recharter process, the fee collection part. So that's kind of the big change. I wanted to show you what that was going to look like this year for new members that have joined through a sign up night. You won't be collecting fees for them. And I'm going to put a couple of more things out there. I'm going to put, in case you didn't get it, I'm going to put the link to the, I just put the link to the internet recharting resources. I'm also going to put our council registrar's information out there. If you've been through this process before, you may, and I see you got a question, Renato, I'll get to you in a minute. So Donna Carr works in the council office. She is a paid staff person and is the person that makes sure that recharters are all processed and handled correctly. And if you have a problem, there's a phone number. That's the person to call. And there's your email. So you can also email her with a question if that's your kind of preferred way. And we'll probably have Donna on these calls. Tonight, she's actually at a roundtable doing a recharter presentation at roundtable, but we'll have her on a call. So with that, let's open it up to questions. And we'll go with Renato. Am I saying that right?
Yeah, you are. Thank you. Appreciate you guys taking the time to go through this. The communication that had gone out earlier, I think over the summer, about the changes with registration indicated that starting this year, all individuals would pay their own membership fee directly to National. But your explanation a minute ago in that screen image you had seemed to show that the troops still had to collect and pay the money for those that were on the charter last year. Am I reading that right, or am I understanding that right?
Yes. Yes, you're reading that right. So I'm not sure what the communication was last summer, and maybe that was what they were hoping to accomplish. But what they've rolled out is that new members are paying direct to the BSA, but existing members that are renewing will pay through their unit. But next year, all members will pay direct to BSA. So they will be on their anniversary date. So folks that join in 2023 for the 2024 year, folks that join in 2023 and then thereafter, whatever month they join in, that's going to be their anniversary date. And that will be when the BSA prompts them to submit their registration payment. So no longer will everyone's registration expire December 31st. It'll vary depending on what month they join. Now, prior to 2023, we all did the proration fee, which carried us through the end of the year, and then reset our registration date, to be, basically January 1. So, but even with that, the fee will no longer have to be collected by the unit.
Yeah, and let me just clarify, it's any members that joined on or after August 1st. So we did have some new Cub Scouts that joined in July, and they were prorated, and they will go through the regular recharter processes, all the others. So there will be a certain amount that will be done like past years.
Okay, I'll have to go back to that previous communication that seemed to indicate that that was in fact this year, but appreciate what you're saying.
Yeah. Any other questions? All right. Well, if we have no other questions, I did think I thought I'd go over the new fees. You probably have heard of the new fees, but I know the youth fee's gone up to $80, adults 60. If you join, you pay an additional $25 joining fee. Exploring is $50. Merit badge counselors now have to pay 25. And that's kind of a bit of a pill to swallow, but there's a cost associated with registering for scouts. And now we want merit badge counselors. We got to do criminal background checks on them, so there's a cost associated with that. So that basically covers that. So that's something. If you run into someone who's just a merit badge counselor and they're feeling like it's a bit of a bitter pill to swallow, just kind of remind them that it's all about making sure the youth are protected and safe, and it covers the cost of the criminal background check. So, anybody got any other questions? If not, we could probably adjourn.